are going to talk about mastering digital spaces, how to build community and influence. So please give a very warm welcome to our next panel. Come on out, guys. Come on out, love.
No smoke with me.
Oh, they got the music too.
800 degree. Whole team eat chefs cause she's a treat. Ooh, she's so bougie, on appetit. I'm a savage, attitude nasty. Talk big, but my bank account match it. Hood, but I'm classy. Rich, but I'm ratchet. Haters kept my name in their mouth, not a gagging. Bougie. He say the way that thing move is a movie.
What's up, CultureCon?
This has got to be like the flyest event like ever. Everybody's so cool in here.
So beautiful. Hi.
I want to know how many HBCU grads in here. Okay. I just want to let y'all know we in here. So I'm gonna get right into the conversation, but I want to give y'all a quick second. Introduce yourself, let everybody know why you're here, and yeah, talk to the people.
My name is Trell Thomas. I am the founder of Black Excellence Brunch, and I'm excited to be here. Oh, you've been, yeah. Anybody been to Black Excellence Brunch before in here? Okay, so we got some more invites to send out. Cool.
Hi, I'm Denise. I'm the founder of the Hill Sis app and the Self-Love organization. Hi.
So you all have built communities that feel like family. In one word, I want you to describe what community means to you. Both of you.
To me, community means deciding to choose each other when you can't depend on anybody else. And being intentional about the people that you have around you and being intentional about what you do with those people. So for me, community is making the choice to have a family, a chosen family, or a chosen community, and then healing and growing with them.
Of that.
Yeah, community to me means showing up in love. I try to lead with love in everything that I do. Black Excellence Brunch is based off the concept and the tradition of Sunday dinner, which I would enjoy with my family. And so I wanted to bring that same warmth and love to my community. And so building community, I don't feel like you can do it without love.
I want you to tell the people a little bit about your dinners. What's the energy? What's the vibe? What does that community actually look like?
Yeah, so I grew up in South Carolina. Any people from the South Carolina here? All right. So the concept of tradition and the tradition of Sunday dinner is really big in the South. And if you're not familiar, it's when you go to church, and then after you come from church, you have dinner around 1 or 2 o'clock, which we know in our bougie lives is brunch time, right? But it would be a space where my mom would host it at her home, and it was so filled with love and light, and it was affirming and celebratory. And so with all the things going on in the world that try not to celebrate us and try to dim our light as Black people, I wanted to create a space that affirmed us, that loved on us. And I knew that space, right? Because it was in my home growing up. And so I started doing it in my apartment. It outgrew my apartment. I started doing it in little spaces. It outgrew those spaces. And I looked up and I was doing it at the White House.
Wow, congrats. Okay, so I'm gonna come to you on this one. You've turned your personal passion into a collective movement. How do you translate your individual vision into your shared community values?
That's a great question. I was able to turn my passion into a shared community value because I'm not the only Black girlie that wants to heal. Are there any girlies in the room that want to heal? Exactly. I was able to turn my passion for self-love, wellness, and mental health into a shared collective because I'm not the only one that's going through this. I'm not the only one that's struggling with anxiety or trauma or mother wounds or father wounds or trust issues or all of the attachment styles, so many things. And once I realized I wasn't the only one struggling with that, finding community or creating community became second nature for me.
Same question.
Again, I would just talk about like how I wanted to create a space that really celebrated us, like truly, where people could come and they had the same feeling of sitting around their family's table. And I think a lot of times as creatives, we always are thinking about like, okay, like what can we do? How can we do it? And I feel like I was sitting on this like golden egg of Black Excellence Brunch because it is what I knew, it is what I grew up doing, it is what I lived, and so I didn't have to recreate the wheel in a sense. I could just like start literally at home and build from there, and so and I'm passionate about that because as much as we need spaces that like we can learn in and we can just have mentorship or all those things, we also need spaces that just celebrate us for who we are, because we deserve that, you know? And so that's what Black Excellence Brunch is, and that's what I'm passionate about.
Love that. You know, when I think about how, like rooms like this, when I think about CultureCon and how big these spaces have become, and I think about how you've scaled your business to national stages, at the White House, how do you expand that influence without losing the intimacy of what makes it special?
Yeah, I think you have to keep your why at the center of you have to know your why, and you have to keep your why at the center of everything that you do. Like I run every decision that I make about how I run my business through why I started in the first place. So I keep centered my purpose and make that my priority, and that just leads to all the other things.
I love that. Denise,
Yes.
you've built what you call a self-guided therapy through your platform. How do you measure influence when there's impact and deep personal and make it more intangible?
Great question. You don't have to go viral to create impact. You don't have to have the million views, the largest, filling the room per se. For me, the impact that I see is the transformation in the Black women that are healing. Seeing them set boundaries, seeing them try and do things differently, seeing them putting themselves out there, seeing them, trying new things and meeting new friends. But one of my biggest joys is after a retreat, I tend to follow my girlies on Instagram, and after a retreat, I'll see them still hanging out together. Or they met at a social and they're making new friends. Or I found that they have a therapist, and the therapist is, keeping me updated on how well they're doing. That is the impact for me, and it's not necessarily about the being viral or all the numbers and et cetera. And then for me, for scaling, my scaling is creating more intimate moments, not necessarily creating larger moments. Because if my transformation is based on how successful a Black woman's healing journey is, then I'm more focused on each individual woman that I work with.
Love that. Love that, love that, love that, love that. I mean, honestly, that goes into my next question. Like, I've scaled HBCU Buzz into a national multimedia brand. You've built Black Excellence Brunch to many stages. Even with your app, when we think about growth, how do you stay true to what growth looks like to you as you scale? And this for both of you guys.
Yeah, comparison is a thief of joy. And
Listen.
I think that
Hold on. Say that again.
yeah, because comparison is literally the thief of joy. So I think you have to run your race. Like our purpose is as individuals our thumbprint. And so when you lock in on like what you're placed here to do, and you'll know that because you'll feel energized when you're doing it. People will come to you when you're not doing it and be like, oh, you should be doing this, or you should be involved with that. Those are kind of like clues that remind you or that let you know like where your purpose is or where, your value might be. And I think run your race. And it doesn't matter if people were doing, there's thousands of brunches, right? But there's one Black Excellence Brunch. And so I just lock in on that and I run my race. And sometimes I don't even realize the scale that it's having because I'm so locked in on making sure, to your point, that everybody that walks through the door feels the love, feels the intentionality, feels celebrated. And because I'm so locked in on that, like, it's easy to, like, scale for me.
Love that answer.
And for me, like, I'm so community focused, so I'm always interacting with my community in different ways. So it may not be on social media, it may be through a newsletter, it may be through, a survey or something of that sort. And through that, I'm able to see what my community needs next. So like we started off doing virtual sessions. They realized that we actually want to do this more in person. So we started our Black Girl Healing Socials, where every month we host these socials for Black girls to heal, vibe, and connect together and try new things. From there, the conversation was, well, we want to take this on a trip. Okay, so then we did our self-love healing retreat, and we started to scale based on what our community needed. And a lot of that is staying, focused on your why and not trying to be, my goal is not necessarily being the biggest or newest thing. My goal is to create the form of impact that is going to have cultural and generational trauma impact within the Black women that I serve.
Right, keep the main thing the main thing. Don't lose the plot.
Period.
I love that. And when I think about building trust online, what is one thing or one practice that you use in order to continue to build authentic trust as you build your community online?
Yeah, I'm so particular about the content that comes out. We all will hire videographers and our photographers and everything like that, but I think you have to be involved in the process of the content that comes out, because it still has to feel like your why, it still has to have that intention. So I'll talk to my videographer about like, hey, this is the story that I want to tell, or this, can we tweak this, or can we show this person, or this angle? Little details like that really, really matter, and they help tell your story the way it's supposed to be told, if that makes any sense.
And then for me, emotion is a really good currency, and I don't think that we use it enough. Emotion is something that we can all relate to. It's something that we all experience. I can show the emotion of the room. Like if we took a picture of this room right now, I feel like we can pretty much feel the vibes of what this room is without it losing its integrity, or without it being posed, or without us, kind of losing our why, or why we even started, especially when it comes down to scaling. You have to be so intentional about that. So I'm intentional about the people that record, that edit. First of all, I record and edit. Let's start there.
Hey, let's give it up one more time.
Let's start there. Okay?
That's a big deal.
Listen, it is me against the world. It's me, CapCut, and ChatGPT, and we are out here. Yes. and it's the three of us working together to make sure that the stories that are told are the most authentic and the one that shows the most emotion, because again, emotion is such a great currency. And for me, that form of vulnerability, I feel like is how I've been able to really build my community, because I've always been that like open book in a sense.
And I think when you were talking about scaling, when we're talking about scaling, we also have to not be afraid to say no to some things.
Oh, listen.
Sometimes like things can look really lucrative,
really
or
good.
something can seem really cool, or somebody can have an idea, and it doesn't it's not that it's not a great idea, but it doesn't necessarily fit your brand or what you're building or your intention. And a lot of times, a lot of my no's have led to the yes that I want. So we can't be afraid to say no to some things.
You can't be afraid to say no, and you can't be afraid to continue knocking on the same door. You do not be afraid to pitch yourself. A lot of the retreats we've had, the books we've sold, the app was all me knocking on multiple doors, sometimes the same doors, until the answer was yes. You have, and back to your point of to your why, there has to be a fire in you to keep knocking on closed doors. But something that I've learned in my journey is that the doors are not closed. You're just knocking on the wrong one. So if you keep knocking, someone's gonna open and be like, girl, do that one. You at 102, go to 103. You go down the hall and the door opens for you immediately. So you have to keep knocking, to your point, yeah.
So I'm sitting here just soaking it up, just like y'all. Like, wow. Great answers, great answers. Trell, given your mix of media, activism, and events, how do you maintain a consistent engagement across all platforms and all audiences?
Again, showing up authentically. Truthfully, that was a personal journey for me too. Like being able to, I went from like, I've done all these things, right? And I used to work in corporate, and I used to be afraid to show up as me. Right? Because I didn't think that was enough, or I thought that the brand or that thing was the magic when I was really the magic.
Like you're the special sauce.
And so when I stepped into the fact that like, no, I'm the magic, it really allowed me to show up authentically, and I weave that through everything that I do through the Black Excellence Brunch. Everything that you see is authentic. It's not curated for a certain eye or anything like that. You see what you get. What you get is what you see. And I think that has allowed me, I take that into sponsorship rooms. I take that into invites. I take that into talent booking, because we honor people at the Black Excellence Brunch. Just show up authentically, and your people will be your people.
They'll find you.
Yeah.
Your people will find you the more authentic you are. I have been so open and vulnerable about my journeys, from grief to trauma to all of it, showing actually it in real time. And I found during those moments where I'm literally like crying on stories, it's in those moments where I really find my community, because they see me, they feel me. They were there once, perhaps one day in their lives.
Yeah, sometimes the thing that you're trying to hide is your gift.
Exactly.
You know?
I want you, Denise, I want you to speak about that a little bit more, because you focus on healing the trauma of Black women, right?
Yeah.
So I want to understand, how do you navigate the tension between sharing openly and keeping it private for some of the sacred communities?
That's such a great question. So, as I said earlier, emotion is such a great currency. And you can show and share emotion without showing the reason why we got there. You know, again, if we all took a picture of this room, we know the energy. We feel that we're all here to learn and grow. There's ways that we can tell, and that's why storytelling is important, because there's a way that you can tell stories without telling the story. There's a way that you can be vulnerable without unpacking everything that you spoke to your therapist about. But being that, you know, vulnerability and emotion is such a great currency, you have to be really intentional about it. So there is a limit to what I share, but I'm not afraid to share the things that I know other people may be able to relate to. I'm not afraid to share what healing looks like in real life, because a lot of the things that we see online could be curated, to your point. So I like to show what healing looks like in real life, in real time. The good, the bad, and the ugly. You have to be able to see it all to feel like you could start at the good, at the bad, and graduate to the good. You have to be able to see the transformation. You know, it's just like going to the gym. You know, if you only see the good part, you only see the six-pack, you only see the snatch waist, you only see everything that you wanted, it doesn't necessarily feel as attainable as watching someone's journey, but you didn't have to be there every day to know that transformation happened.
No, that's real, and I'm still, truthfully, I'm still working on that part of me, like showing all of the like good, the bad, the ugly of it. You know, but another piece that I think that I'm able to speak to the way you're able to speak to that is, I feel like a part of, like, when I was starting the journey of Black Excellence Brunch, I wanted everything to be like just right.
Like perfect.
I was waiting for like that perfect moment, and I'm here to tell you it does not exist. It becomes more perfect as you do it, and when you step out and do just the one little thing, everything else starts to open up. So I would say, like, as advice to any creatives or people that are building brands, like, just start with whatever you have, where you are right now. Yeah, and we have, and online is such a powerful tool. Like, social media is such a powerful tool to do things, from connecting, but also just like getting it out of here and out of here into the world.
Yeah, and it does leave you really vulnerable to do those things. Like, that's the scary part. The scary part is being vulnerable. Like, every time I host a Black Girl Healing Social, I have no idea if anyone's gonna come. It might just be me. Like, I might be the only one at the art gallery. I might be the only one on the hike. I might be the only one there. But you have to have that form of vulnerability when creating community. You have to put yourself out there. Just be me.
I'm just soaking this up. How many creators in the house? If you're a creator, raise your hand. Okay, I'm gonna switch gears a little bit, but I wanna know if one of the young creators in the room asked you guys, what is the one principle that you should never compromise on? What is that? And who wants to go?
Can I go first? I feel like it's so important for for me, speaking towards Black women, to know that your rest and your joy is not up for debate. Those two things are things that you have to schedule into your to-do list, into creating your content, into the goals that you're achieving. If you abandon joy and rest, you're leading yourself straight to burnout. There has to be something that is joyful for you. But then you equally need rest. And when I say rest, I need you to hear me. Not, scrolling on TikTok for an hour, not watching like your favorite show. No, I'm talking about intentional rest. I'm talking about spiritual rest. I'm talking about mental rest, physical rest, social rest. You have to be able to really allow your body, your mind, your soul, your spirit to rest and recharge, and then equally experience a good portion of joy, which is why when I'm hosting our Black Girl Healing Socials, it's focused on joy. It's focused on Black girls just having a good time, meeting new people, to heal, vibe, and connect. And for our retreats, the same thing. It's these experiences of joy and intentional joy. So you have to be really intentional for there to be longevity. I have been on this journey, both my healing journey, but equally my career of content creation for almost like 10 years. And the thing that has made it so successful, for lack of a better word, is the fact that I've been very cautious about joy and rest.
I would say don't abandon your truth. Really be honest with yourself first, because that's how you get to your truth. But also just don't abandon your truth. And then another thing that I'll say that's not necessarily a thing that to not abandon, but, well, I would say stop glorifying being humble. Like, I think so many of us are taught, like, oh, be humble, be humble, be humble. And I think that you can be kind, you can be considerate, you can be, all those things, but you don't necessarily have to be humble. Like, be confident. You know what you know. You have the skills that you have. You know how to do what you do, and don't be afraid to do it, but also don't be afraid to tell people that you're doing it, right?
Period.
Yeah, honestly, for me, I want to jump in and answer on this question because I feel my spirit just wanting to answer this. For me, the one principle I never compromised on was my spiritual alignment. Every room, every place that God has laid out for me, that's the only place I'm going. If he's not there, I'm not going. If he didn't tell me to go, I'm not going. If this is not what he wants me to do, I won't be here. And that's the only place I want to be. So that's the one principle that I feel like the more you're aligned with his purpose for your life, the further things just start happening. Exactly. And I would just keep that close to the chest. But I want to make sure we talk about the one word within our community that you would use. Like, how would you want people to view you in your community? Like, if you could sum your community into one word, your legacy word, what would that be?
Dang. My legacy word. You know what? I want people to, not just at Black Excellence Brunch, but when they're around me, I want people to feel safe.
Love that.
I would say, like, affirmed and safe. Like, that is what I want my legacy to be, is that, when I was around Trail, or when I attended a Black Excellence Brunch, or if I did anything with Trail, I always felt affirmed and I always felt safe, because that's important.
Yeah, love that.
For me, it would be soft. I've always been very intentional about being a soft landing for Black women. And for me personally, that was a journey in itself to get to this point. In a space, in a world where we're expected to be all the things but what we truly are, being able to be that soft landing for Black women is what I want that to be that word. I want that after an event, after the app, after a social, after a retreat, you feel softer. You feel lighter, and you want to return because you want to continue your journey of becoming softer and lighter. We carry so much. For a lot of us, become the strong Black woman, and it's not for ourselves. We become the strong Black woman for everybody else. So I want that when my community meets me or are spending time with me or we're doing something of the sort, that there is a soft landing, a soft feel that they're able to really indulge in.
Love that answer. Love that answer.
Thank you.
Whew. Okay, so looking ahead 5 years, where do you see your communities evolving, and what's the one way that Black creatives can get ahead of the curve? Anyone?
Well, the way that I see Black Excellence Brunch evolving is I want to continue to give access to the space to people that might not physically be able to be there, right? So continuing to build in a digital space. We're also in the midst of, like, building out a series that gives people access to the space. And then I think for the future, you touched on it a little bit before, but AI and ChatGPT and using AI and allowing it to work for and with us is really, really important. And that is how I think right now we can get ahead of the curve. By not being afraid of it, embracing it, and having it work for you, literally.
For me, my answer would be to getting ahead of the curve is doing the thing that you're most afraid of. You have to do the thing that scares you. If you're not scared doing it, then you're not in the right space. And then to your point of your faith, for me, being able to walk into rooms with my chin up humbly, right? Like not necessarily humble, like I belong in this room because I've done the work. God has opened this door for me, right? And it's because I did the thing that scared me. I did the thing that he told me to do. So for me, getting ahead of the curve is doing the scary thing. It's doing the thing that puts yourself out there. It's doing the things that you don't have all the answers to. I have no tech background, but I still made an app because I knew this was something that my community needed.
Right. And knowing that if God gives you the vision, God will also give you the provision.
He'll find a way. My degree is in psychology. I don't know how I made an app.
Right. I know we're getting ready to wrap. I just want to throw one quick question in there. The difference between where you guys are sitting and where we are sitting is really thin. In my opinion, it's very, very thin.
Yeah.
What is the one quick piece of advice you can give them from the journey to there to where we are?
Concentrate on showing up authentically and not looking for a transaction. For me, like, I think every room that I've been able to walk in is because I show up in rooms like, what can I bring to the table? Yeah. And coincidentally, I've walked away with a lot of things, but concentrate on that. I know people tell you network, but show up authentically and just really connect with people.
For me, it's trusting your faith. The only thing that changed from me being on this seat and me being here is literally trusting God throughout the entire process. That's the only thing that has been that. Just trusting him, asking, and asking him to use me, and then making those scary decisions, although I may not have all the tools. Just allowing myself to try new things and allowing myself to be vulnerable and to be seen trying. You have to be seen trying to get to where you need
Somebody is
to
always watching.
Yeah, someone is always watching. You have to be seen trying.
The Trail. My name is Luke Lawal. That's our time. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank y'all. Y'all are beautiful,
Thank
by the way.